So I'm a feminist. My question is about the role of women, though. What should women's role in public and private life look like, and what are the material benefits of that?
Well, thank you for that. Can I take it? I don't really want to take this detour, but can we both agree on what a woman is?
Yes. An adult human female is a biological state of being that is also socially experienced. Can I please elucidate just one example of that social experience?
Yeah, I was going to answer your question, but sure, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So let's say you're a member of a tribe, and that in that tribe, you have the biological female anatomy, and in order to become a woman in that tribe, you have to also get a tattoo. That's a social experience that's mapped onto biological reality.
So can a woman have a prostate?
Can a woman have a prostate? Biologically speaking, a woman is an adult human female that has a biological reality, but it's also social experience, right? So I don't...
Yeah, it's super easy. Like, can a woman have a prostate?
So as per my definition of woman, I would say that people who have a prostate are biologically male, but they can sometimes be socially treated as women.
Okay, got it. So women can have prostates. Got it. Okay. So you're a feminist that actually isn't just fighting for women, you're also fighting for men.
So, yes, men also experience harms from patriarchy, but I argue...
We're talking about the same feminism, though, just make sure. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, men...
I think a major thing people do not still understand is the various types of feminism. So, from what I can understand, Charlie Kirk might actually be a feminist in a way, because I think he's a cultural feminist. From what I understand, it's more like he wants women to actually have their roles and he wants men to have their roles in society. But I think he's just fighting for what he would consider the dignity and, should I say, the essence and the social, and fighting against the social stigma associated with these various gender roles. So I think it's more of a cultural feminism, because cultural feminism is more like you believe in gender roles, you believe in men having certain virtues, women having certain virtues, but having equal respect for those virtues, having equal respect for femininity and masculinity, believing that masculinity is as important as femininity, and we shouldn't shame either for either. We shouldn't shame either for having either traits, just to clarify. So we shouldn't shame women for choosing to stay at home, for being expressive, for being emotional, for being nurturing. We shouldn't also shame men for being providers, for focusing more on the outer part of the should I say, the family and stuff like that, and trying to bring in money, trying to bring in funds and stuff like that. So that's cultural feminism, and that's a kind of feminism. So you can be a feminist and still believe in gender roles. You can be a feminist and still believe that there are various gender roles, and they deserve respect, they deserve dignity, they deserve, should I say, social status and social approval without any stigma associated to it. So...
also experience harms from patriarchal domination, but I would argue that those harms come from that system of domination itself. In the same way, for example...
And the moment you go toward fighting the patriarchy, trying to dismantle the patriarchy, trying to say the patriarchy is the source of many of the discomfort, the inconveniences, and the discrimination women experience, the oppression women experience, or just talking about the patriarchy in general, about how it's disadvantageous to society as a whole, be it to men or women, then you're going toward radical feminism. You're going toward radical feminism, because radical feminism actually believe that patriarchy is the source of women's oppression. They have to dismantle the patriarchy to actually achieve true equality. So still, it depends on the kind of feminism you're referring to. There are multiple types of feminism. I believe there are about 10 types of feminism, if I'm not mistaken. And that's if I'm not even a bit off in my... because I believe it's quite correct. There's a more current number than 10. So there are different types of feminism.
This isn't a threat, but if I reached across and punched you in the face, then my hand might hurt. Right? So are we understanding that there are, like, patterns of power? So I would also fight for the rights of men as a feminist, just as I would fight for...
However, as she put it here, it sounds more like she's talking about intersectional feminism, where you try to, shall I say, try to include everyone in your fight for equality. You try to include all social groups. You try to account for the various, shall I say, challenges people could experience because of their social identity. And then you try to achieve true equality despite that. So then you're going toward intersectional feminism.
The rights of women.
Sure. You think women are happier than they were 4 years ago?
I think I would have a few responses to that. I think that women report more stress and dissatisfaction today because, not because they have more rights or because of feminism, but because they're under dual pressure to both excel professionally and also because of the domestic labor in homes that is structured around outdated expectations. So, for example, studies like the OECD's Better Life Index show that women's life expectancy, education levels, professional achievements have risen in countries with higher gender inequality. So I would argue that what you're calling unhappiness is actually visibility, because now we hear women expressing dissatisfaction, whereas in the 50s we prescribed them Valium and we lobotomized.
Yeah. That's really rich. I didn't know women not to complain 50 years ago. That's funny. So, hold on a second. Why are suicide rates going up more for women?
I think that encourages...
They're complaining. Materially, women are killing themselves more. Why is that?
I think that even if both men and women have become unhappier, men's suicide rates have risen as well, and that's also been exponential. Can you at least concede that feminism offers only one potential explanation? There could be also other explanations.
Of course, obviously, but feminism is the glaring thing in front of us, where we have fertility rates down, we have marriage rates down, we have unhappiness up. And we did something in the 1960s out of the universities of Brady Friedan and Gloria Steinem and all these feminists that basically said, you're trapped in a home, go get a job, freeze your eggs, take birth control. And all of a sudden, women are way unhappier than they were 40 years ago. I just have to ask the question, why is that? Is it working? And maybe there are biological differences between men and women that we should respect. And that deep down, a lot of women want to get married and have children. In fact, we should applaud it and we should support it. And we should say it means nothing if you're going to go be a CEO of some shoe company or be some banker in London. What matters if you raise children and you have something to pass down long after you're gone.
I think I would bring 2 points to that. The first one is just really simple, which is that you can ascribe liberalism all you want as the cause of the unhappiness. I would argue something else. I would say that it's certain economic policy that has very little to do with the social acceptance of alternative lifestyles. I would say that we can recognize that income inequality across a vast swathe of Western countries has increased, which causes all kinds of social ills, a lack of social cohesion, housing price growth doesn't correspond with wage growth, monopolies increasingly become kind of emboldened to interfere with politics, and monopolies don't prioritize social health either. I think that those offer more compelling reasons for a decline in happiness than an increase in freedoms, because just one more thing, on an intuitive basis, generally speaking, people want more freedom, not less.
Great.